Good morning to everybody. I'm Leonardo Dini, philosopher and politician of Italy. I'm in Rome, and this is the seventh lesson in international and foreign policy from my vision, from my point of view. What is now the foreign policy, and what is now the international relation? International relation is a concept of common sense. There is no reason for explication. International relation is the common relation between nations, between leaders of nations, between parliaments of countries, and everything sense between every kind of political, economic, financing, and cultural dialogue between nations and between culture and opinions too. Foreign policy is the main way for the building of international dialogue and international dialogue without conflict, without war, without enemies around the world. Actually, foreign policy is, in my opinion, however, a foreign policy of the last century and the last years. The past century, because is a policy founded on the system of the embassies and the system of the direct contact with summit, international summit, international conference, and at United Nations level with the participation of all the countries associated to the United Nations at the International General Council and to the Security Council. But this way and this kind of foreign policy is a foreign policy of the past, of the last century, of the past century, because is an historically system of foreign policy. So the real problem and what kind of foreign policy there exists and can existing in the future and in the next year, in the future centuries. From my opinion, the future foreign policy is a foreign policy related and referred to the United Nations essentially, and to a world, every country's dimension. There is no reason for the prosecution of embassies system. Also, the embassy system of the future are virtual embassy, avatar embassies, and without a physical seal embassies. And at the same time, the foreign policy of the future is a foreign policy of virtual dialogue and indirect dialogue without the actual international conference, international dialogue with too many countries and too many leaders, and something like Babel Tower of or very difficult without a simply occasion of a photo opportunity and a flags of nations opportunity vision and with new rules in international relation and in international dialogues is a vision of policy without vision, without a real progress in international relation. So the international relation is frequently not in an advanced way of development. Better way is a dialogue, step by step solutions way to all the problems, all the issue, and all the problems in dialogue and around the dialogues between countries and main powers of the actual world. So the United Nations is the better way, but not the actual United Nations. But United Nations as a World Council, World Assembly, World Parliament, and so it's very important the building of the United Nations in the future as a common universal world parliament and a common universal world council and government and way of government. The actual nation is um, remembering of the past, a remembering of the Middle Age, the the age of the born of the actual nations, and the age without a global village and a global system in the world. The world as a federal nation, as a federal nation with a parliament, with a council, with security and ecological and financing security council, with a common constitution, with only one common constitution for the world. And this is another important problem, real important problem, a common world constitution. The San Francisco document is not a common world constitution. The Versailles Treaty is not a common world constitution. In the world of future is very important a common world constitution. And this form of this way of constitution born from a real unification of the world, like in a nations system, like in continental system, and like in a United Nations system. This is the way for the future, for a better future for the world, and for an evolution of the political, economical, and international relations system with a logical system and a logical order. A logical order is not the common way of international and world order like in the Bush senior way of thinking, and not the actual way of a common international system with the dominance of a main nation like China or Russia or United States or the same Europe or another country. The correct way for evolution of the planet is a common political, international, economical, and the council system without dominance, without the powership of a main nation, of an oligarchy of main nations and countries, all continental's system power. As in liberal ideas, born and coming from Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, David Hume, from English, British empires, and now from a liberal democratic way of world, a world without a common power of a main nation is the only way for a real democracy and a substantial democracy, and is also the way for a world with a citizenship, a common citizenship, as a real democratic citizenship.